Hi, Emily.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hey there.
What's wrong with you? How do I fix you? Everyone at their finest. They put me on mute me first. Hey, Jim? What are you doing, Jim?
It's technical support for the wife's phone. I don't know how to. You have to
Okay.
look through. That's why it's cheeming back and forth.
Where do I find the button for everybody?
Top right corner says view.
Gallery view. No, it doesn't. Top right corner?
Should
Gallery.
say look for view and then go to gallery view.
Look at all of us. No.
They put the sexy ones on top, just saying.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different screen, so. Look at the glare coming off that chrome dome there.
Yeah, I meant to powder it.
Not yet. That's mine there, Alan there. Oh, wait.
Okay, well, mine ain't much better.
Gotta put a hat on, maybe. There we go. That fits in better with this.
Oh, I remember you now.
All right. Maggie, do you know if we're waiting for anyone else?
No, I think we can go ahead and start.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome. We'll call the meeting to order at 4:02. First, let's do first thing on our agenda is approval of minutes from last month. Did everyone get a copy of the minutes from last month? Maggie sent out with the invite for this meeting.
Colleen, I'm sorry. Can we take roll call?
Oh
please,
yeah,
for the
sorry,
minute?
I forgot.
It's okay.
Just because all of our names are on here, but not everyone's are. So, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and start the recording. Okay, so Commissioner Paul Anderson.
Here.
Here. Kevin Barot.
Here.
Commissioner or Chair Talene Cole.
Here.
Commissioner James Dinwiddie.
Here.
Commissioner Lori Dinwiddie.
Here.
Commissioner Emily Fuentes.
Present.
Commissioner Elizabeth Habas.
Here.
Commissioner Stephen Klein.
Here.
Commissioner Larry Larson.
Here.
Commissioner Dara Malecki. You're muted. Sorry,
Yes, he is here.
he's here.
He's in Maui.
He's in Maui.
We'll talk to him.
Yeah, I'm here in Maui.
yeah.
Correct. Thanks to modern technology.
Commissioner Jermaine Newman. Commissioner Brian O'Neill. Commissioner Anna Piercy. Commissioner Lachey Rodriguez.
Present.
Thank you. And Commissioner Brian Stanley.
Here.
All right.
All right.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Maggie.
Yep.
All right. So minutes. Why do I see the screen broadcast on my?
You know, I believe that is because this is being broadcasted through YouTube. So,
Perfect.
yeah, but it's good. It's just for the audio for anybody in the public who may be listening to it.
Okay.
The meetings.
Good to know. So approval of minutes from last month. So did everyone get a chance to review them? They should have gone out on the with the email for this meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Do I have a second?
James, second.
Who was that? Brian?
James or whoever.
Oh, James. Sorry, I
Doesn't
didn't.
Yeah.
Too many boxes to look at. All right, perfect. All in favor, or all in favor of approving the minutes from last month, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And do we have anyone abstaining?
Jermaine's abstaining because I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay.
Oh, and Jermaine's on there. Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, then the minutes are passed. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the treasurer's report. Thanks, Jim, for sending that out. Did everyone have a chance to look at it?
Same as last month. No changes since April 19th or February 2020, I should say. Sorry about that.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll do it, Larry.
Okay. First, thank you, Larry. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, Paul seconds. Thank you. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
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 Any not in favor of passing? What is it? Any, okay.
It's been spectacular for 14 months.
And then anyone abstaining? All right, then we'll pass we approve the treasurer's report. Thank you. All right, so next thing on the agenda is possibility of a virtual exchange with Mito Japan. I know that Dara and Kevin were initially volunteered to do like an initial discussion and kind of come up with some ideas with that. Do you guys have anything that you'd like to report on or any ideas you have?
Kevin did some extensive layout of a curriculum. I also did research on some programs that were already done. I was able to speak with Kevin today about some of his the overall agenda. He brought me up to speed on the length of it, so I think he's got something pretty well formatted that I think we can bring to the table and potentially have some further discussions on.
To add to Dara's point, so I mentioned to him earlier that if we were to do a virtual exchange, we'd have to consider time difference between us and Mito. So what I discovered is that the best time that we can do is probably 4 p.m. our time, which would be 8 a.m. their time. Morning sessions would be very difficult for us because it'll be late at night for them. So that's our only window at this point. And in terms of the curriculum, it's all based on what we've done in the past. Only the difference is it'll be in a virtual setting. So we'll still give them the history of the Packing District, give them a tour of Angel Stadium virtually, and then we'll have a virtual scavenger hunt. And Dara did mention earlier that we should probably incorporate some like computer game type stuff, kind of like League of Legends, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I was thinking about, really trying to see how we could evolve. Obviously, we have a lot of high schoolers and youth participating. So perhaps, some sort of virtual competition. Obviously, esports is a everly increasing, I guess, sports league. I know high schools now have esports teams. One of our local Orange County teams actually won a trophy, some sorts in Southern California here. So maybe it's something interesting. I know Japan has a huge esports following, so it'd be interesting for both sides to share. So if that's something that we can incorporate, perhaps that will add larger interest. Also, I think along the way, me and Kevin discovered that, this could be a great way to continue to expand at least interest within the exchange program by virtually exchanging. And then that be a feeder straight into the, I guess, in real life exchange program. And also another way where they could possibly, prepare to raise funds, etc.
I think those are some really great ideas. I appreciate your guys' initial work on it. And that is a good point, obviously, Kevin, with the time difference. Something that you guys probably saw, I think Kimberly forwarded it, and I was planning on talking about it, and I think this is a good point to bring this up instead of waiting till the end, is that there is that invitation for the California Japan Sister Cities Network Spring Workshop, and the theme is Citizen Diplomacy Through Technology and Innovation. And I'm wondering if that might be a good place also to get some ideas for some of these, like a virtual type exchange and how that's working, how that might work. The workshop is via Zoom on Friday, May 14th from 4:30 to 6:30. And I think it's open to anyone on this commission, but I would encourage, I don't know if Dara or Kevin, since you're kind of heading up this, this idea of a virtual exchange, I think it would be fantastic if you guys could go as well, or one of you guys try to make it. And then if anyone else is interested as well, like I said, I think you just have to RSVP by Monday. So you have a week, and I think it would be, interesting to see if anyone else is doing something similar.
Just a question for staffers. In my research, I did find that the new virtual exchange does have some sort of federal funding attached to it. So I was wondering if our staff could actually look into that. I believe it's what was it? Give me 1 second. Let me just pull it up. I have notes. But there's it's the Stevens Initiative, and there's grants available for organizations and schools. So I was wondering if that's something that perhaps we could look into. And there's also some other websites for virtual exchange committees, etc. But if we could find grants, I mean, I know that we're looking at our treasurer's report. Maybe that's something that we could look at as a city to see if we qualify. And perhaps there's money. There are some, just some of my initial findings is that it is specific to certain countries. So maybe it's something that we target as also sister cities. Some of them are Middle Eastern countries, some of them and South African countries. So or countries in Africa. So I'm not quite sure if that's something we could look into, but perhaps there's, maybe there's some low-hanging fruit there that we can grab onto.
Dara, would you mind sending that to myself and maybe, I don't know, Kimberly too, possibly, to like the name of that grant, just so we're kind of on the same page and we could see, we can look into that and see if that's something we would be, able to apply for and what the requirements are.
Sure, not a problem. I will send that over. To my knowledge, there's like 18 different grants that they've launched, but they could be older, they could be newer. So I would just need to filter through. I didn't have all the time to really dig deep.
Okay. And if it's something that needs a lot of work, maybe we could put together a subcommittee or something that could write, if we, depending on what it is that they're requesting. So awesome. Thank you for doing that. Any other comments from the rest of the commissioners as far as the virtual exchange?
Yeah, this is Jermaine. As a parent of a teenager, I would say that I think our kids would be really interested. Our kids in Anaheim would be interested in participating in the virtual exchange with the Mito kids, and maybe even like bring in those kids who didn't go last year that were slated to. I bet they would really appreciate having some kind of cultural exchange with the kids from Meetup.
Yeah, I think once if we're able to coordinate a virtual exchange, I think definitely first we should look at any kids who were slated to go, and then we weren't able to send because of the pandemic, and then go from there. But I would give them for sure top billing in the process if they're even still in school and interested. I don't even know, some of them might have graduated by now. And I think, Steve, did you email me about someone who was asking about that? Oh, I think you're still on mute.
Here we go. From the email I sent them last October, the only response I got from any of them was McKenna, and I sent you that one. And she was still eager, but I think they're probably all still in school. I don't think we
Okay.
had any seniors at the time.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, I think that's a great, that would be a great place to start as far as once we get this set up, or if we can get it set up, you know, is to start with those students. Anyone else? Any other comments or ideas from the rest of the commissioners?
Is this something that we should have a subcommittee, or is this something we should all be working on together and collectively to build this out?
So that's what I was just going to say. I'm thinking if we could get some people to go to this workshop, would be the next step, and see what, if they have, you know, what they're doing, and then let's work with, I mean, this is something we would have to work in tandem with our partners in Mito, and we'll get in contact with them and probably put together, and if they're good to go with something like this, then we could put together a subcommittee to start setting this up, is what I'm thinking. Does anyone else have any thoughts on the process or how that would look?
Sounds good to me.
Same.
Perfect. All right, and I'll send out a message to an email to Mr. Wang in Mito. Is that who we're contacting now? I'll double check. You know, just yeah. All right, thanks, Jim. And get let them know what we're thinking, and that this is the direction we'd like to go in. You know, until we're able to resume at least for sure until we're able to resume live in-person exchanges, and then see if there's someone he could put us in contact with specifically who would maybe be interested in coordinating with our commission on the specifics.
Yeah, the only difficulty I would see is they'll be there in school at 8 in the morning, so that may be a little issue. But the schools may have interest in it as well, which would help us on our end. They would probably have a lot more participants than we have, since they would probably get to do it during school hours compared to where we're at. So that would be a. I'll go to that class and sign up as well, so we can all get together.
Hey, Kevin, you did a lot of work on the initial email that you sent to me. Could you send that to Taylene and so that we can at least get an idea? I think it was 4 hours a day that you were talking about. So maybe that's something that we'll have to negotiate with Mito. But I absolutely am happy to go with you onto that seminar and help understand how this can be structured with Mito and move forward with it.
Sure, I'll send it over to Taline, and I'll also join in on that seminar on Friday.
Awesome, thank you. Fantastic. All right, so moving along then to Victoria Guestie's relationship update. I think Paul and Jermaine were working on that.
Yeah, I've reached out to them. I went through, searched their website, looked at what contacts. I've sent out some emails. I unfortunately haven't heard back from them at all. So, tried. It's a little frustrating. I know the city, we have an interest in reestablishing that relationship. It just seems, I will continue to make effort.
Right, and we don't blame you at all for not making it, not making contact. We had this issue with Paul. Paul did a lot of work when it first started, I remember. And so that's why I always said, I don't know, Paul really tried and reached out to a lot of people and weren't able to get, make a connection. I don't know.
I have a little bit of an update for you all. I think at the last meeting, Paul mentioned he tried reaching out. So I reached out to our planning director, Ted White, who did the exchange. And so he was able to contact his friend over there that he did the exchange with. I believe his name was Inigo. And so we got a response back. And he basically said, "This is great." I don't think he's no longer with Victoria anymore, but he has friends in the city hall that he connected us to, and also he sent an email to the vice mayor of Victoria Gasteiz and also copied a city staffer, and said that we were interested in reestablishing the relationship. And so I have their emails and contacts now. So I can forward them to you, Paul, and others, and then maybe we can work together on a draft response, or maybe like a reintroduction kind of letter or email to them, just kind of talking about what we'd like to do and explore with them and seeing what kind of interest they have. But now it sounds like we have two really good people to start that conversation with, so that's super encouraging. Again, got that a couple weeks ago, and so we can start pursuing that.
Greg, it's always so nice when you come to our meetings. That's great news. Awesome. Thank you. All right.
Happy to help.
Perfect. So anything else on that, really, on the relationship? Any other comments?
I had a conversation with a former commissioner. She reached out to me and inquired about our relationship with Victoria East and kind of let her know where we sat with it right now. And she was actually going to reach out to Eduardo to see if he could help us out with reestablishing the connection. So we'll see if that ever pans out. So.
Great. Thank you, Lori. It sounds like we have a couple different avenues then. So I think this
What
is
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, next up is public comment on our agenda. I have a public comment from Anthony that he sent in and he wanted read. Would I read this here, Maggie, Kimberly? That what I should do? All right. I just want to make sure. So I don't know if you all know Anthony. He was a prior president or prior chair of our commission, but he's currently the president of Sister Cities International Southern California chapter and a resident of the city of Anaheim. And this is also coming from David Bracey, Secretary of Sister Cities International Southern California's chapter, an employee of Anaheim University. And they sent this in as their public, public comment. They state, "We believe at this time it is important for the Sister City Commission to review the purpose of Sister Cities and the values, vision, and mission that is contained in President Eisenhower's speech. This is the address that President Dwight Eisenhower put forth in his September 11th, 1956 presentation at the White House Conference on Citizen Diplomacy. We ask that our public comment time be combined to read this on behalf of Sister Cities International Southern California chapter." All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I appear before such an audience with mixed emotions. There are so many of my friends among you that on a personal side, I feel like I am coming to sort of a family gathering with all of the enjoyments we normally accord on such occasions. Hold on, I'm going to get a little ruler. I'm getting old. It's hard for me to read. Okay. When I look across the cross-section of American brains and ability here, some of you experienced widely in the fields in which I expect to talk. I must say I am very difficult, if not embarrassed. But I am emboldened to talk to you because the purpose of this meeting is the most worthwhile purpose there is in the world today, to help build the road to peace, to help build the road to an enduring peace. A particular part of the work that we expect to do is based upon the assumption that no people, as such, want war, that all people want peace. We know this to be a true assumption, but we know also that in certain portions of the world it is not understood as such. Some people are taught, and they are a captive audience, that others, including ourselves, want war, that we are warlike, that we are materialistic, that we are in fact hoping for cataclysms of that kind so that a few may profit, they say, out of the misery of the world. For my part, and I have been around a long time and therefore more or less acquainted with all of the wars of the United States has fought, to the glory of the American businessmen, I have never heard one single one ever refer to war in any terms except those of regret and hope that war will never occur again. If we are going to take advantage of the assumption that all people want peace, then the problem is for people to get together and to leap government, if necessary to evade government, to work out not one method, but thousands of methods by which people can gradually learn a little bit more of each other. The problems are, how do we dispel ignorance? How do we present our own case? How do we strengthen friendships? How do we learn of others? These are the problems. The communist way, of course, is to subject everything to the control of the state and to start out with a very great propaganda program all laid out in its details, and everybody conforms. They do this in every walk of life and everything they do, and for a while it seems to score spectacular success. Of course, its great weakness is that in times of stress, whenever the love of freedom, for example, grows greater in a population than the fear of the gun at their backs, then the dictatorships fall. Indeed, in war, when we fear the machine, when the fear of the machine gun in front grows greater than that of the machine gun behind, the dictatorship's armies begin to disintegrate. Our way is a different one. We marshal the forces of initiative, independent action, and independent thinking of 168 million people. Sometimes it appears slow and awkward, weak, but the fact is that since all crises are met and action taken according to the will of the great majority, the tougher the going gets, the tighter is bound the whole, the more effective becomes the whole. Today we have this problem that I have stated, that of creating understanding between peoples. Here are people that we hope will lead us. Governments can do no more than point the way and cooperate and assist in mechanical details. They can publish certain official documents. But I am talking about the exchange of professors and students and executives, the providing of technical assistance, and of the ordinary traveler abroad. I am talking about doctors helping in the conquering of disease, of our free labor unions showing other peoples how they work, what they earn, how they achieve their pay, and the real take-home pay that they get. In short, what we must do is to widen every possible chink in the Iron Curtain and bring the family of Russia or of any other country behind that Iron Curtain that is laboring to better the lot of their children, as humans do the world over, closer into our circle, to show how we do it, and then to sit down between us to say, now how do we improve the lot of both of us? In this way, I believe, is the truest path to peace. All of the other things that we do are mere palliatives, or they are holding the line while constructive forces of this kind take effect. Every bomb we can manufacture, every plane, every ship, every gun, in the long run has no purpose other than negative, to give us time to prevent the other fellow from starting a war, since we know we won't. The billions we pour into that ought to be supported by a great American effort, a positive, constructive effort that leads directly toward what we all want, a true and lasting peace. So in calling upon a group like this, I wanted to come before you in spite of the different dissidents of which I spoke, to tell you that in the opinion of the administration, there is no more important work than that in which we are asking you to participate. There is no problem before the American people, indeed before the world, that so colors everything we do, so colors our thinking, our actions, as does the problems of preserving the peace and providing for our own security. Whether it be the Suez problem of today or another one of tomorrow, there is nothing else that so affects our daily life. It dictates almost the levels of our taxes. It colors every problem with which we deal at home. So as you start this work, as you have before you, the government officials who will be the ones cooperating with you, you will understand that this is something that lies very close to the hearts of the administration and to every man, woman, and child in America. And indeed, we believe the world, except for those few who want unjustly to improperly to rule others. I think that's the end. So that was public comment by Anthony and David. Any comments on that or anything? Sorry, it was really long.
Do we not have an option for public comments on these meetings? I was reading through trying to determine if we had public comment. So we don't have an option for that during the Zoom. I think it was something to do with Executive Order N29-20, but so there is no public, just viewing and listening. I don't know who that question's pointed at, but I was just curious.
I think Maggie said yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Or-
It is.
Okay.
Yes, so members of the public have the ability to send in comments to an email that's listed on our agenda. And then they're also able to listen into the meeting. But other than that,
Thank you. So everyone on our screen here is all, because I was looking at the telephone numbers, trying to decipher who's who. And those are all actual commissioners then?
they're commissioners or staff members.
Okay, thank you. It's hard when there's a telephone number and you don't know if who's watching. They might have saw my credit card number earlier. I'm just kidding you.
All right, and I didn't receive any other public comments. I don't know if Maggie or Kimberly, if either of you have any other public comments that you received? No.
I do not. No.
All right. Well, we thank them for submitting that. I think that was a good reminder of the, sister cities and what our mission was, or what our mission is. All right, any commissioner comments? I'm going to start because I have one. I got another email that I think everyone was copied on this one as well, and it's from Brian Takeda, who's a board member of the California Japan Sister Cities Network and the Pasadena Sister Cities Committee. And he's trying to start, it looks like, more of with all the cities that have Japanese sister cities, some kind of like a board, I guess you would call it, or regional networking group. And so we would fall in the Orange County region. So it looks like in addition to us, Anaheim, Brea, Fullerton, Huntington Beach, Irvine, and Newport Beach would be in our region. And they all also have sister cities with a city in Japan. So they're looking for a way to coordinate meetings with these groups in our region. And it says meetings can be in any format. I am not sure. I'm sure we could figure out who's heading up these other sister city commissions in these other in our region. But if someone is anyone interested in that or in meeting with these other sister cities in our region that also have Japanese sister cities, this could be another good link for like what they're doing in the midst of the pandemic as far as their relationship with their sister cities in Japan, to see if any of them have already done a virtual exchange or if they're doing other types of programs, what they're doing for even like fundraising or what other ideas they have. So it's just it sounds like a good opportunity, and what we have in common is we all have the Japanese sister city, sister cities.
I'd be interested.
Kayleen,
Yeah,
I'd be interested as well.
I lived in Japan for 10 years, so I do have experience there. So I'm definitely interested.
Awesome. So Brian and Dara?
And Tallene,
Yeah.
I've been interacting with some of them on Instagram, so I can help out with that.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. I don't know, did you guys see this email? If you didn't, I'll re-forward it to you and I'll try to find out who we could get in touch with for that, okay? All right. Perfect. And thank you, Kevin, again. I know I thank him every time, but he does a lot of work on our Facebook page and our Instagram page, so I really appreciate that. He does it all completely on his own. So thank you so much. If anyone has any ideas for Kevin, I'm sure he would appreciate it instead of coming up with everything himself, but he remembers every holiday and he has some great pictures to post for it. So I always see that and I'm like, oh, thank goodness we have him in charge of this. So I appreciate it. But if anyone has ideas or anything they think could be posted on our social media, you could send that to me or send it to Kevin and we'll see about getting it up there as well. I think the more ideas, the better. And then he could always keep it, and as we need that material, post it on our page. So.
Aileen, I have a question. Kevin, do we use any kind of Hootsuite or any kind of scheduler for you? Or do you have to literally put this in your schedule and update it on the day?
No, I pre-schedule everything. So I do it
Okay.
on one day, and I schedule everything to send out whatever day it's supposed to be out on.
Okay, great.
Kevin, I have a question. Where in the world are you? Your background is just incredible.
It's the Arctic.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Right?
train
That's what it looks
station.
like. That's what I was going to think. You're at the Arctic?
I'm not there physically. It's just a virtual background.
Oh,
Larry.
okay. Okay, you got me.
All right. Any other commissioner comments?
Yes, Talene, I have one. This is Larry.
Sure.
Some of you may be in touch and know what's going on, but this very likely will be my last meeting. My comments of last meeting were not only recorded and transcribed and also were published. And one of our city council members, Mr. Brandman, took exception to it and has labeled me as a hardcore racist. And tomorrow night, they will be voting on my continuation in the sister city. So if you weren't aware of that, that's where we're at. And I just want to say, let's start with the city. Kimberly and Maggie, you are the two of the most top first-rate people I've ever known. And the city of Anaheim is really, really lucky to have you on board. And Greg, you know how I feel about you, so I won't embarrass you by saying it. And all of you, it's been a absolute slice of heaven for me to know you and be able to associate with you and be part of this wonderful, wonderful organization. And hey, there was a sister cities before me, and you'll carry on, and there'll be one after me. And hey, that's just called life. So so I hope I have opportunities to run into you in the future someplace. And I wish you all Godspeed and good luck and best wishes on anything you do. So yeah, be careful what you say on these Zoom calls, because somebody is in the shadows listening to you. So thanks everybody, and it's been a pleasure. I suspect I really do suspect this will be my last meeting.
Well, I was not aware of that, so thank you for sharing that. But I think it is a good reminder, what Larry said, that these are public meetings. We are appointed by the city council, to carry out the mission of the sister cities, and we're open. The public's allowed to come in and listen and submit comments and or make comments. Under normal circumstances, it's just a little bit different because it's Zoom. But yes, all of our meetings, I even need to make sure I get the agenda in time, which I'm always being reminded multiple times to get it to Maggie and Kimberly, because those are posted so people could come if they want to talk about a specific thing on the agenda. So those are posted before our meetings happen, and then to give people time to review it and submit comments, etc. So and then we know Maggie does a great job of taking very detailed notes for us. And those also are posted as well. So, I know just, yeah, that's the type
One
of
other thing I'll mention that will be of concern to you all, and is that part of, it's on the agenda tomorrow, item number 23, part of it is not only to seek resignation or replace, and by the way, there's no resignation in me, or replace me. Also is Jordan wants to discuss the restructuring of the Sister Cities Commission. So I have no idea what he wants to do to restructure you other than to remove me from the structure. So you might be somewhat concerned about that, at least until something or nothing happens. So just so you're aware, they want to discuss the restructure of this committee. So good luck. And Anyway, it'll be a fun night tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to it.
And the restructuring, I didn't realize that was on the agenda for tomorrow, but that's been a common topic that we've heard about now for years, ever since we went into to a district voting. And we keep getting kind of passed by as far as restructuring. They already restructured all of the other commissions. We're the last remaining commission that has not been restructured. Honestly, this might be a good time to do it because we're not in the middle of exchange. Usually we're always in the middle of an exchange and doing a lot of exchange work. And so it would be really difficult to restructure this. I have no idea what they're thinking. No one came to me and asked. So, but I'm not surprised by that's on, if that's something they're going to discuss.
Well, I think that puts you in common with them because I don't think they have any idea what they're going to discuss either.
Welcome, Anna. I think we're just about to end, but we are doing commissioner comments.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm late. I had a prior commitment here as well I forgot about, and so I thought I'd try to jump in, but.
No problem, thank you.
So.
Yes, I have something. So I'm still relatively new. I've never actually met any of you in person. It's either by phone or Zoom. So this is completely new for me. So when we are talking about the Sister City program, I hear us talking about schools and Anaheim Unified, but I've yet to hear us ever bring up the word Orange Unified. But Orange Unified is where Anaheim Hills is. Like my kids in school in Anaheim Hills, my taxes are Anaheim Hills, and we're Orange Unified. When we're planning things with the sister city, does that include Orange Unified or is it only Anaheim Unified?
I think you have to live in the city of Anaheim regardless of where you go to school. Is that correct, Jim?
Yes, okay. It is the city of Anaheim, not necessarily the school district, because we changed that. It used to be Anaheim Union High School District, any school. But now it can be any school, but they must live in Anaheim to be part of our exchange program.
I've yet to hear us ever mention Orange Unified, which is still in Anaheim.
That's right. If they live in Anaheim.
Okay, but
no matter what school district they go to.
Okay.
If they have to have an Anaheim address.
So I mean, Esperanza, is that part of Anaheim Unified, or is that Yorba Linda?
That depends upon whether the student lives in Anaheim. It's not.
Right, a student can actually live in Anaheim and not go to school in Anaheim as well. And we have some other schools that are outside of the Anaheim area.
There we go. That makes sense.
Really,
yes, let me clarify. Can I clarify? It's not dependent upon what school they go to. It's dependent upon where they live.
Right.
They must live in Anaheim to be a part of our exchange program. That's it. So they can go to a private school, they can go to, different.
When we do the exchange, we try to get the information out, and that includes both Anaheim Hills, that includes anybody that would receive the Anaheim magazine or any information from us. And we definitely try to get it out. And that's where, Brian, you could be some help with us to get it to that Orange Unified School District and get it to the right people.
That I will, because I'm involved with Orange Unified, with the Pacific Symphony and some other programs. So I would be more than happy to push the Sister City program since I'm paying a lot of taxes in Anaheim. I'd like to hear us talk Orange Unified. As much as I hate to say Orange Unified, I have to, because that's where my kid goes to school in Anaheim. So yeah, I'll do whatever I have to help us here.
Right, and a lot of our students are in Cyprus in school, but they actually live in Anaheim. So they're able to go for Oxford, for instance, through Anaheim Union. So they're just because they live in Anaheim is more important than where they go to school.
Right, and I think
I recall,
the student outreach or the outreach to the students, and that's where we've struggled in the past, is like getting the word out to the students who are eligible to apply for our exchange program. But getting the word out is to whoever lives in Anaheim. Yeah, they could be homeschooled. They could be, go to a private school outside of the city. I don't think that's the issue, but it's getting them that word. And I think Kevin could be a big help with that as far as our social media is concerned as well. I mean, we just really started social media in the last year and a half, maybe a little longer, but I don't know if we had it, really developed before, our last exchange started, so when we were trying to get applications. So yeah, just getting that information out to the students, regardless of what school they go to, is something we'll have to focus on when we're back to doing that exchange again.
Is it something we could also look at freshman packets? I really do believe that as Kevin and the rest of us really work on this virtual exchange, because it's such a low cost initiative, after learning a little bit of how much it costs for a student to go overseas on an exchange, it is expensive, and it becomes something that would perhaps deter someone in the initial outlook of it. But on a virtual basis, given the fact that you just need a laptop and some time, it really is inclusive. And with inclusiveness being such high on priorities, this could be something that could give us a much further reach. Get the freshmen coming in to immerse themselves in the program, and then have it as, again, like I said earlier, as a feeder program into the actual travel program.
Yeah, Tara, I think that's an excellent suggestion. I mean, it would be fantastic if we got, a really good virtual program set up, and those people were the ones that developed these relationships, and then we got to send them to, Mito in an actual exchange. That I think would be awesome. So I think, that even if we go back to having, hopefully eventually, right, our real live exchanges where we send the kids there, to have the virtual exchange is like another option would be fantastic. So I think it's good work, regardless of what happens as far as our exchange goes. All right. Any other comments by any commissioners?
I would just say anything we can do to promote the program to any student is good. Even a 7th or an 8th grader looking forward to a 9th or 11th grade. The application is on the website, and that needs to be updated, so we can get that updated once we determine that we're going to go back to a sister city exchange. I don't know if 2022 is too early, or I don't know what the opinion is on. Do we have any opinion at the city whether we'll be maybe having a 22 exchange, or who's in charge of that? That's looking at you, Greg.
Yeah, Greg. It's kind of hard to look into the future. We've got to see what happens this year.
Exactly.
Really.
Still a little early, but we know the timelines, and so we recognize that decisions need to be made early. So we're not going to leave you guys hanging, obviously.
Thank you.
And maybe part of the virtual exchange is we'd have 2 different applications, right? One for the virtual and one for the live. I don't know what we're going to call it, the live one. So we have like 2 separate sets of applications going, but those are details we can work out later.
The only thing I see, and this is just a comment with exchanges, if we do a virtual exchange, a lot of times the students get expect to be on the real exchange, and we get that from host families as well. Hey, I've hosted for 4 years, but my student didn't get to go. So that's one. Maybe it would be something outside of the dates in the non-exchange time, because unfortunately we don't want to give any kids hope that, hey, you're part of the virtual experience, and you're going to get to go on the real experience. So keeping those programs maybe completely separate would be ideal, and not interchanging them. I know it's just very hard to tell a student that you can't go or why they can't go.
I would agree with that, and I'd like to think that the virtual exchange would be much broader than, like, we could allow more people to participate in that one than we could actually send to Mito. So I mean, I think that's wise to keep it separate, but it would still be, I think that's an automatic audience, because a lot of years we don't have enough students to even apply. We're struggling for that. So I think this is a really great idea, but yes, separate program. All right. Any staff comments?
Hi, I just wanted to share that if this group does want to meet in person, Greg let me know that is a possibility. So if that's something that is of interest to this group, we can work that out for our next meeting if everyone is comfortable. If not, we can continue to meet like this.
Can we do a hybrid, Kimberly, or maybe we could talk about it later? Of like, so if people want to be on Zoom, they can, but we could also, those who want to be in person can. Maybe
Yes,
we-
that is an option as well.
Okay. I think that would be the best way to go for the next one, just so that people who maybe aren't comfortable yet could still Zoom in and still participate. And it's
Also,
great because we get people like Dara, who's in Hawaii, who still gets to come to our meeting. Maybe we'll have better, you know, no issues, not having issues with like not meeting quorum and stuff if we keep the Zoom option.
Dedication.
Anna's in Hawaii too. She's got her palm trees.
Dedication, Taylor.
we could also move the commission to a different room so that we could spread out more for those who do want to come and be here in person. So we have a few options here at City Hall to help out with. So
Yeah, I personally would like to get in person because I really do think the storyboard and to really build out the marketing and the actual virtual exchange program, especially after Brian and Kevin and a couple of others of us, you know, perhaps go to this Friday meeting. It could be really great, even if we had to just get a few of us together to really put together this workshop either prior to the meeting and just work through it. It would be really meaningful and get some momentum going for the virtual experience.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Any other staff comments?
Paul and Jermaine, I sent you the email from Victoria. So hopefully you.
I saw it pop up. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. I was just about to ask for it.
Awesome. All right. If there's no other comments, no, then we'll adjourn the meeting at 4:52.
Thank you.
Godspeed, everybody.